Hello, lovely people of YouTube. Thanks for watching this video. So in this one, I'm going to kind of go through my take of how to explain Wavetable Synthesis. There's obviously plenty of other videos out there on YouTube that you can watch as well, but I'm going to sort of just, like I say, yeah, do it from my point of view. And then I'm specifically going to look at using the Wavetable synth on the Deluge. So this is kind of in two parts. I may do this video in two parts, I don't know, it depends on how long I jabber on for. So the first half is going to be just a bit of general background information on Wavetable Synthesis, a little bit of information on how you can get some wavetables. And then the second half we'll be looking at how to use it on the Deluge, but the techniques that we use in that can be applied pretty much to any wavetable synth, really. Because if you looked at the title, it's talking about, of the video, it's talking about wavetable synthesis in the Deluge, and you're probably thinking, well, hang on, why are we starting in Ableton Live? Well, the reason we're starting in Ableton Live is to have a look at their Wavetable VST, because it gives us a really nice visual representation of actually what a wavetable is. This is a VST I've not really used much. I've kind of loaded it in a few times and seen all these weird lovely patterns here, which to me just look like a Joy Division album cover, but I never really knew what they all did. And it's not actually that difficult. It's a lot easier, more straightforward than FM synthesis, that kind of thing, because it's pretty much just very similar to, in my mind anyway, to subtractive synthesis, but with a few differences. So let's just load in. When we first put Wavetable in here, we get these basic shapes. So this is a very basic wavetable. So basically all a wavetable does is it is made up of a load of different waveforms. So if you see this one, we've got a sine wave, we've got a triangle, we've got a sawtooth, and then that's going into a square. So there are loads of synths around that do this. I mean, looking around what I've got in my studio, I've got the Uno synth that has a variable oscillator where it can blend from like a triangle into a saw into a square. So that is, I mean, I wouldn't know whether that's classed as a wavetable synthesizer or not, but it's coming from the same kind of principle. I think, I may be wrong on this, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, that a standard, if it is a pure wavetable synthesizer, you can load your own wavetables into it, which you can do on the Deluge and various other wavetable synthesizers. So if I just give you an example, so all I've got on here is just a single note, just so you can kind of hear what happens with a wavetable synth. So if I start this playing now, it's playing this one here that's yellow at the bottom, which is a sine wave. If we change this, which is our wavetable position, you'll hear it morphing into a triangle and then morphing into a square, sorry, into a saw, and then into, let's turn that down a little bit, and then into a square at the end. So the basic principle is you can kind of pick these different sounds from different waveforms and wavetables and so on, but wavetable synthesis for me is all about getting really nice sort of long evolving sounds. So what we could then do is apply an LFO to this, and we can, you know, start to get it sort of morphing between the two sounds. We can add another oscillator if we put a more complicated kind of pattern in there. Let's just pick one of these at random. That's not a complicated one. Let's just turn that off for a minute, otherwise that's going to get really annoying. There we go. Okay, so we've got, let's just listen to that one on its own. We'll turn off oscillator 1. Okay, so as I go through that, you can hear we get this nice sort of phasing sound. And then in our mod matrix over here, we could start to apply like LFOs and envelopes to this so it evolves over time. This is something I'm going to have a look at when we do it on the Deluge, because this is not particularly about the Wavetable VST. But if you bring both of those in together, okay, and then okay, so you can start to hear how, as we sort of scan through all of these, we get these different sounds, and we can pick a specific part of the wavetable that we like just for a single sound, or we can, like say, put an LFO or an envelope onto this thing and have this evolving sound. So the other thing you can do is you can just load any other samples in. Now I find it's a little bit hit and miss with wavetable synthesis. I mean, this is just my samples folder here. So if we just like randomly just stick anything in, so you can see this is like this crazy like mountainous thing here. So, like I say, we could go through that and find a tone that we like. Or we could have it, you know, evolving through there. I do find a lot of the Wavetable Synthesis stuff sounds very much like that. It's quite a kind of nasal quality, for want of a better description, that you get. But you can obviously then start to apply filters and everything else to it. Let's just try something else at random. See, yeah, it's a bit hit and miss with a lot of these. Some work better than others. And to be honest, you know, I'm not 100% know what I'm doing, but I kind of get the basics of it. I mean, that's in itself is quite a nice little, if you want to make sound effects that sound like they're off the Matrix or something. I mean, that, like, you know, that kind of talky thing is quite nice. So that's the basics of Wavetable Synthesis. I thought I would just show you that in Ableton because you get this nice visual representation of it. What I will do is I've got a big folder full of wavetables. I'm going to put those up available to my Patreon subscribers, which you can then stick in the Deluge or in any other wavetable synth. You can use those in anything, and they will be. I'll make those available to tier 1 and above. So it's only $1 a month or £1 a month. If you want to subscribe to that, you will be able to download those wavetable folders or wavetable folder. I think there's a few folders inside there, I can't remember, but there's quite a few in there anyway that you'll be able to get. And it helps as well if you do the Patreon thing. It helps support the channel and it keeps me going and hopefully keep producing content that people like. Just wanted to also show you a different bit of software which is called Wave Edit, where you can make your own wavetables, which is pretty cool. So this is it's from synthtech.com. I'll put a link to this in the description, and then if we just scroll down here, I think this is the latest version, so there's Windows, Max or Linux version, and then when we launch it, it will look like this. So just give me a sec, I will just launch that. Okay, so once you launch it, it's going to look like this. And again, like I say, I don't profess to be a massive expert fully on wavetable synthesis and how it all works, but basically we have 64 slots in here, and I think a standard wavetable, kind of those more complicated ones that we looked at in this kind of thing, I think it limits it to like 64 sections of the waveform. So I just think this is quite a good bit of software for making your own up, and you can just do these at random, but also to give you this sort of visual representation of wavetable synthesis as well. So what we can do, this is our first one. Now we can just draw stuff, waveforms in here at random. Okay, so there's your first one. Let's say there's 64 of these. You do have some kind of like preset ones over here. So if we went into like this analog section, you can see we've got like some sine waves that we could put in that one. We could put like some square ones in that one. You can then just copy and paste these. So I'm just going to do this, Control V. Okay, and you can like change the harmonics and so on. So we can listen to each section if we play it. Okay, which is, I apologise, very loud. Let me just turn that down a little bit. If I would turn it down on here. Okay, just so you can sort of hear that. So that's playing just this highlighted one here. So you can hear it change as we kind of put extra harmonics and things in. Okay, and there's loads of different things you can put down here, which again I don't fully understand, but like I say, a lot of it's a bit of trial and error. So that's that one. That's that one. Let's put like just a basic triangle in there. We can go some digital ones. We can have a rectangle one in there, and so on. Okay, and I think the best way for these, for a lot of these, if you want to fill up all of these 64, it just gives you a nice kind of table to scroll through. What we can then have up here is different views. So we can go into grid view, where you can see each section of your wavetable. Okay, and then we have the waterfall view, which is the classic thing like we have in the Wavetable VST. Okay, so as we scroll through our wavetable, we'll be able to sort of hear that. We can see it on this bit as it plays through. We can scroll through. Okay, then we're going to have silence on that last bit because we've not got anything in there, but this So you can kind of start to hear the sort of thing that you can get out of this. There are also a load of these online. If you click on this bit, Wave Edit Online, which sometimes for some reason is taking forever to load on my super fast internet. There we go. Okay, there's loads of different ones here. So you can just load all of these in, just experiment with them. I find it just a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes they sound great, sometimes they don't. Is my findings on this so far. One thing I would say with this is, because I wasted hours working this out, because once you've got it in here, obviously you need to get it out of here as a WAV file. So what we're going to do is you want to go to Save Bank, okay, and you can decide where you want to do it. And it has actually done it now. Now I'm not sure if this has been updated, because when I did it last time, it didn't do it like that, right? Or did I do Save Bank as? I can't remember. Let's just try that. But anyway, if it doesn't come up with this, what you've got to make sure is, because when I did it previously, it just came up like as untitled, and I was saving it like that, and obviously the computer had no idea what I was saving it as. So if I just save this as Wave 1, you've got to make sure you put .wav or .wave at the end. Okay, if I save that onto the desktop, okay, I'll just skip down to my desktop. And that is now there. Yeah, and it's really just a case of, like, say, you can just drag any kind of waveform in. I mean, these are, let's just try this randomly. This is a drum track I've done for my band. Let's see what happens if we just stick that in. That happens. Okay, so you'll find a lot of them, they do sound very similar, so it's all a little bit hit and miss. But what we'll do is we'll head over onto the Deluge and we'll have a look at how the wavetable stuff works on there. Here we are then over at the Deluge, and we're just going to load a new synth in. So we press Shift and the synth, going to load in new, and then we get the basic kind of initialized patch. So there's a couple of ways I've seen people load in these wavetables. I do it this way. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're oscillator 1. And we're going to go browse, and the first we need is we're going to choose this. It'll come up as bot top, so we're just going to press enter on that, and then I'm going to scroll down to where I have my wavetables stored, which is not stored in a wavetable folder, and this is the folder I'm going to put up on my Patreon for people if they want to get hold of this. So scroll through this. We've got various different wavetables, right, and they're all going to sound a little bit weird. So let's just pick something at random. Now the important thing here is you need to hold, and it will come up as these various options. So you're going to press down and hold, and it comes up as multi-sample. What we need to do is turn it around until we get the wavetable, and then we're going to load it in. That's going to load it in as a wavetable. Okay, so that is now giving us that is loaded that wave into there on oscillator 1. Over on the custom 2 and 3, the top one will scroll you through the wavetable itself. Okay, let's go a little bit lower. So you can get some really nice growly basses off some of these. And this one, so these are kind of hardwired in first of all. You can change them, but it's kind of the setting on this. And this one is how much the LFO will affect the it basically turning this dial for us. Okay, so it's moving it up and down there, and that one I believe does it go to LFO 2? It is, so it's the amount of LFO 2. Okay, so if we want to actually see the mapping for that, we need to come over to the shortcut pads over here. My labelling on here is slightly different because this says noise and destination on here, but this is actually the wavetable positions. So if we hold shift and press what mine actually says noise, because I need to change this overlay, it's a bit out of date now. This will change for us the wavetable position. You'll see this move up and down because it's basically controlling that. Okay, so that's taking us through the wavetable positions, and we can see that is patched into the LFO down here, and that is our amount, which is basically this bit here. Okay, so into LFO 2, and obviously where we have this position, that will be the starting position of where that LFO starts to move that up and down, and then we can go, let's come out of that, we can go into LFO 2 and then just change obviously the settings in there. We can go let's go sine, So it's going to move it up and down nicely. Let's get it moving a little bit faster just so we can hear. Okay, so straight away you can hear how we can sort of mangle the sounds up by putting, I mean, that's a really fast LFO on it. Let's put a little bit of release on that. And obviously then we've got the ability to, you know, to shape the sound further with the filters. Put a bit of delay on. A bit of reverb perhaps. Sorry, wrong one. Okay, so you can hear how you can get some kind of crazy sort of sounds. It's not, I find with Wavetable Synthesis, I would struggle to sort of think, I want to make this kind of sound out of it. It's a little bit, for me, it's a little bit random and hit and miss. I know with subtractive synthesis, that if I want to create like a pad sound, I would know how to basically do that. With this, not so much. Okay, so let's load another wavetable into Oscillator 2. So we're going to have Shift, and then we're going to go Browse on here, because this is the Browse button for Oscillator 2. Again, bottom to top, and let's pick something at random, whatever that is. So again, long press, make sure we check selecting that as wavetable, and we've now got the wavetable in there. What happens then is when we have a wavetable on both oscillators, this mapping changes. So this one's still the wavetable position for Oscillator 1. This now becomes the wavetable position for Oscillator 2. Okay, so if we go into here and we change that, we can see that's changing the wavetable position of that one, and then you can route that obviously into your LFOs and so on. So at the moment I've turned down no, let's just turn down Oscillator 1 and we'll have a listen just to Oscillator 2. Okay, so I mean with that one, you know, you can start to get a few more different sounds. Let's bring Oscillator 1 back in a little bit. Okay, now bearing in mind Oscillator 1 we had that really fast LFO, so let's just go back. Let's turn that down a little bit. Let's give it a little bit more of an evolving. And then you can just start to mess about with the different positions of it. And that's kind of like, that's pretty much it. Obviously you don't have to have wavetable oscillators on both oscillators. We could change Oscillator 2 because at the moment it's on wavetable, so let's just change that to, I don't know, the analog saw. So let's just turn Oscillator 1 down. Let's just get rid of all these effects I've put on. Okay, so we're just listening to the which one did I put in there? Let's do, yeah, we'll do analog saw. So we're just listening to the sawtooth on that one. Okay, standard oscillator for subtractive synths, but then we can bring in a wavetable on the second one. Okay, now what we could perhaps do is take that second oscillator down an octave perhaps. So you get a lot of very, almost like a harpsichord kind of feel. No idea what I'm playing. And obviously you've got your filters, and so there's a lot of possibilities with there, but like I've said several times, it is, to my mind, a little bit hit and miss. I did get quite a nice little thing going when I was messing about with this the other day. Let me just load that in and I'll play you that. Yeah, so I got like an ambient-y one, which I can't find for some reason, but I got this nice kind of growly bass out of it. You see these are both wavetable. These should be on if you are subscribing to my Patreon and you've downloaded my the contents of my SD card, which you can do if you subscribe to tier 2 and above. This sound is on because I've not actually, I don't think I've saved the sound. I'm not sure which folder it's in, but it's on. It's song 276 if you have got that. And then I got this other nice kind of lead sort of sort of sound, and then I'll just put some drums on it, and I'll just put this bass in. I mean, it's nothing magical, but you can hear that nice kind of growly bass with it. And then with this, I just kind of okay, so I'm pretty sure that's Wavetable. Oh, that's a combination of Wavetable and Square on that one, just to give it a little bit of variety. So there we go. That's my sort of quick introduction to Wavetable Synthesis. It's something I'm still sort of learning a fair bit on, but hopefully that gives you an idea of the basics of how it works, and it will give you the options to go away and fiddle with that. Obviously, you can apply on here, you can apply envelopes to the sounds as well, just to get them to evolve over time. I mean, we could put an envelope on, on each of these, and sort of make it go up and come down and that kind of thing, which I won't go into now. I'm sure you know how to apply an envelope to something, but if not, let me know and I'll do a video on patching some envelopes into some sounds. So I hope that was of some interest to you. If you do want to get hold of the contents of the get a copy of Start Again jeez, if you want to get hold of the contents of my SD card, then head over to Patreon. There's a link in the description, and you'll need to sign up for tier 2 and above, which is £3.50, $3.50 a month. If you want just the Wavetable files, I'm going to make that available to anybody who wants that on the £1 and above a month Patreon thing. And I say all that Patreon stuff, it all helps fund all of this and keep the videos going, and help support the channel, and it gives you a nice warm fuzzy feeling as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.